This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
The best TV comes in many forms, from real-life mysteries to blockbuster dramas, family favorites, and buzzworthy reality shows. Philo makes it easy to stream them all with one simple, affordable subscription. For just $33 a month, Philo offers more than 70 live channels, including favorites like AMC, A&E, MTV, Discovery, and Nickelodeon, plus on-demand TV like the entire AMC Plus library. Whatever the mood, there's always something new to uncover. Philo subscribers also get access to HBO Max Basic with ads and Discovery Plus at no extra cost, along with unlimited DVR that saves shows for up to a year. No long contracts, no complicated setup, just endless entertainment ready to stream anytime. Ready for a better way to bundle all the TV you love? Get started at philo.tv. That's PHILO.tv. Your next obsession is waiting.
What's up, champs? Welcome to another episode of the Short Shifts Fantasy Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Keeping Karlsson. I'm your co-host, Louis Ezekiel. Joining me tonight, my pal and yours, for the first time here in Short Shifts Season 7, we are joined by the one, the only, Ryan Downey. Ryan, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday evening?
Louis, I could not be better. I'm happy to be back here on Short Shifts. It's been a busy fall for me with my day job. A lot of you know that I tread the boards in downtown Toronto at the local opera company, and the schedule this year was a little too restrictive to allow Tuesday night recordings. But I've got a good pocket of time here, and let's use that time wisely here, Louis. Let's get right into the episode because we want to really make this a true short shift.
All right, well, then, yeah, let's jump right into it. We'll start in Carolina, where we got a power play one quarterback back in action. How excited should we be about Gostisbehere's return to the Carolina power play?
I'm going to go with a resounding kinda. Carolina, they're probably happy to get their power play one quarterback back here. He's been injured on and off throughout the season here, and they haven't been great on the power play with or without him. Just to share a little bit, that when he's there, they're 9% on the power play, and when he's not, they're 14%. So it takes some time, obviously, for these units to get going at the beginning of the season. I'm not going to fault them too much. They have a ton of offensive power playing with him: Aho, Ehlers, Jarvis, and Svechnikov. So hopefully that he can stay healthy. They can build some consistency, as they've had the third worst power play in the league this year. It's really their only weak point of their game. And they've had a number of people step in over the past weeks, and you've been a big fan of one of them. Why don't you walk us through what's been going on with Walker?
Walk us through. Very good. Yes, I've been enjoying Sean Walker. I put a bid on him. I was going very defense light last week with the spread out schedule. I got away with just 2 defenders on my roster for the week. So I was ready to add somebody who I felt like was reliable. I've really been enjoying the peripherals we've been seeing from Walker. He's been giving us 2 to 3 shots a game in most cases, getting a couple hits, sometimes as high as 5. And getting some blocks in there too. For the Bash folks, he could be a nice option. I know we're going to talk about some Bash defensemen a little bit later on in the show. But even when he, was shifted out of that power play one spot, I was feeling decent about him. Shams was saying how much he likes him, and for Shams to say any defenseman is likable is pretty solid.
Certainly. I definitely missed out on Walker a couple of times when he was on Power Play 1. I would be remiss before we move off of Gostisbehere here to not mention that he did have an assist so far on that Ehlers goal. Wasn't on the power play, but great to see him contributing in his return to the lineup.
And the other guy getting some play on the power play, I mentioned Walker being moved off of it before Gostisbehere returned. That was K'Andre Miller. He also was kind of heating up in that context. Both of those guys, getting some run in that spot. We've seen this, a very beat up defensive core for Carolina so far this season. So those guys are never far from maybe getting another opportunity. And both of them pretty decent periffs guys along the way. But yeah, I like, maybe with Gostisbehere back, maybe Miller has the inside track. He's, I'm sure, more widely owned. But Walker's a nice option if you need him. All right, well, switching over to K'Andre Miller's former team, we had some shakeups there. Vincent Trocheck made his return to line 2, power play 2. Considered by a lot of people maybe the panacea that the Rangers needed to solve all of their various offensive problems. He looked a bit slow to start. I know that you were watching the game. You noted that he was kind of getting hemmed in the first period. And he and Mike McCarron had a little exchange between them, just some work talk, I imagine. He did get an assist on the Gavrikov goal. He was in the right place at the right time. And that point on the power play with Perrault, who I imagine you'll want to talk about in a moment, and Lafreniere with a great keep in at the line. So nice work there. And I believe you mentioned he would have had a third assist. If there were third assists in the NHL, he would have had one on a Panarin goal. So he's getting involved on the offense. And we did see the Rangers, just about eclipse their previous scoring at Madison Square. So, not necessarily getting all the points in there, but certainly seemed to contribute something offensively.
It was definitely the day that Rangers fans had been waiting for all season. And, I kind of thought it was a little silly that maybe one player could change their fortunes like that. But he had a great game yesterday, and there's no denying it. I'm happy to see him back in the league. Certainly, it's a more exciting team to watch with him in the lineup. And another addition to the lineup yesterday, a season debut of sorts, was Gabe Perrault, who's a young player. He played 5 games last season for New York and didn't really do much of anything, but he has, a ton of pedigree. He has a ton of offensive talent. And when he showed up on the first line in practice yesterday, I made sure to add him right away. I wasn't alone. Victor Nuno of the Fantasy Hockey Life podcast, Jeremy, fellow Short Chips host, and favorite in our Discord, Quelly Ford, all added Perrault, hoping for him to bring a little bit of a spark to that stagnant top 6 of the New York Rangers. One of the issues with Perrault is that he lacks foot speed, and so he frequently seems out of position, and that was certainly an issue with him at points last night in the game. But he also, like Trocheck, started to heat up near the end of the first period. He hit the post on a nice opportunity in front of the net and had a sick little give and go with Lafreniere on power play 2 for an assist last night. So very happy with that move. He helped me go ahead in my matchup yesterday for probably the first time all season. So Perrault, very interesting stream option. I've already streamed him out. I had the opportunity to add Corey Perry, but he's not the worst stream for you rest of the week, is he, Lewis?
Yeah, listening to this on a Wednesday morning, if you're listening right after it came out. The Rangers do have 2 off-night games this week, Wednesday and Sunday this week, so they could be an appealing stream option. Of course, we've seen them cold sometimes. Detroit is the home game for the Rangers on Sunday. But hey, Detroit's been pretty bad lately too. And the Rangers finally scored some at home, although not you, JT Miller. You're still driving me bananas. 4 hits, no shots in yesterday's 6-0 drubbing. Really driving things besides me crazy, or not really driving anything other than me crazy. That was awesome delivery. I'm going to leave it in. Elon, don't cut that, please. All right, let's move right along. Just a few other quick headlines. We saw that Thomas Chabot exited tonight's game. I know that you and Elon are Chabot holders, so I'm hoping that is temporary, but I imagine we'll know more tomorrow, so keep an eye on Game Day Tweets, which is back in action. Good to see our friends Shams and Elon getting back with all the greatest news on that wonderful resource.
Something else you'll read about on Game Day Tweets tomorrow is that Austin Matthews exited tonight's game after a hit into the boards by Zadorov of the Bruins, as if it couldn't get worse for the Leafs. Feel bad for him. He's had awful injury luck for the past couple of years, and the Leafs really need all their bodies on the ice, so that's unfortunate as well. Another key player for an Atlantic Division team for Tampa Bay, Victor Hedman is day-to-day. You'd love to see someone step up and take that role, but there's a lot of, I hesitate to say nobodies because obviously you're somebody if you're playing in the NHL, but lots of guys who you have to look up on elite prospects and frozen tools to figure out who's playing on the Tampa Bay blue line. So I don't know if there's anyone who's going to really benefit from that.
Yeah, so maybe keep an eye out for JJ Moser as a potential option. But yeah, a lot of the guys who have previously held that role, your Sergachevs, your Nick Perbixes, who have seen some benefit when Hedman's been out, are not there. So our other piece of news is already a bit out of date, right? Craig Berube said that Joseph Woll is going to start and play a full game for the Marlies on Wednesday and rejoin the Leafs after that. But with Stolarz leaving Tuesday night's game, that might accelerate the timeline for Joseph Woll. Maybe they'll put Hildeby out there for another game to give Woll that chance to, get a Marlies start under his belt. But we'll have to wait and see on that one too. So that'll be one to definitely keep an eye on. Could be a potential stream start for you with Hildeby if you want to risk it, or it could be an opportunity for Joseph Woll to get a little bit of run here. Worth keeping an eye on. Also potentially worth keeping an eye on. Andrei Kuzmenko has been put back on power play 1. Jim Hiller was talking about him like you do, your Gostisbehere is your guys who are specialists in that particular role. So Hiller said Kuzmenko's power play is his greatest strength. They're going to try and get him more puck touches and get him going. That's some nice, hopeful talk. I don't believe we've seen Kuzmenko on the score sheet here on Tuesday night, despite a quartet of goals for the Kings, but could be worth keeping an eye on if Kuzmenko can start producing in that spot again, which he has in streaks in the past.
Yeah, he's had 5 power play points so far this season when he's been on the power play for the Kings. I think it makes him more of a bottom roster streamer type instead of a waiver wire resident, but he's gone off in the past, so I wouldn't blame anyone for taking a flyer as long as Corey Perry is not available to you. Some other players who might be available to you as of this past weekend, returning from injury, you have Cole Perfetti and Matt Zuccarello. They both returned for their teams over the weekend. Perfetti, at the time of us recording right now, they haven't even started their game tonight. So you'll have to watch Game Day Tweets tomorrow or, the score app of your choice to see what happened there. But Zuccarello staying hot, 2 points in 3 games, one of them tonight. It's great to see him come back and resume some of his great chemistry with Kirill Kaprizov. I'm holding Zuccarello for now, even though he's got a couple of no game days coming up this week. But I think it's just too juicy to have some exposure to Kaprizov there.
Yeah, in the late part of the show, we'll definitely spend some time talking about some guys who might be worth holding through an extended time without games here. One last thing, Jet Greaves and Askarov both got unexpected starts on Tuesday. Columbus has had an illness going through the lineup, so that may be something temporary. But Alex Nedeljkovic was warming up before, and Askarov got the start, so that could be an illness, could have been, some kind of injury warm-up. We don't know exactly what's going on there, but if you're interested in some Sharks goaltending, you might want to keep an eye on that one. I would guess the Columbus issue is more short-term, but worth keeping an eye on there as well. All right, well, we got a big second half coming up for you. We're going to talk about some special schedules that we can check in on. We are going to talk about maybe some useful midweek streams, some Cats League defensemen, all in the second half. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see you on the other side. You're listening to Short Shifts.
The NBA season tips off, and so does DraftKings' newest fantasy game. DraftKings Pick 6 is the easiest way to play for big wins, with every possession giving you a shot at real money. Here's how to play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more stats and unlock the upside every game brings. Pick 6 is available in Texas, California, Missouri, and more. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball. Cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. In Connecticut, must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. The holidays are here, and that means it's the most wonderful time of the year to save with Rakuten. Rakuten, use them to stack cash back at your favorite stores on top of holiday sales. That's saving on savings. With Rakuten, you can get cash back on gifts for everyone on your list. From toys for the kids to kitchen gear for the person who loves to cook to electronics for everyone. You can even save on something for yourself. Just shop the stores you love and cash back is automatically added to your account. And you can choose to get paid via Interac, e-transfer, PayPal, or check. Join for free today and get a new member bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.ca, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's Rakuten. Spells Rakuten. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're a custodial supervisor at a local high school, you know that cleanliness is key and that the best place to get cleaning supplies is from Grainger. Grainger helps you stay fully stocked on the products you trust, from paper towels and disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Plus, you can rely on Grainger for easy reordering, so you never run out of what you need. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Welcome back to Short Shifts. Ryan, we have some really interesting schedule stuff this week, I should say. We've got an international game. We've got some other players who are on some kind of weird schedules. So let's start with Sean Monahan. This is going to be an interesting one. Has had some nice runs, has also had some pretty ice cold ones. What do you think? So he's got this schedule week, but what about next week? How do we feel about Monahan as a medium to long-term hold?
Yeah, those of you who listened to the mega show on Sunday would know that Elon thinks that, yes, Monahan is potentially a drop. He actually said that Monahan has a week to prove whether he should stay on in the lineup. My allied chat and some of the fantasy groups I am a part of have been talking about Monahan incessantly for weeks now because he's been a tough hold at points. I think we're both representing different sides of this argument, so I will present my side for keeping Monahan as a mid to long-term streamer here. He obviously had 5 pointless games to start the season. I think veterans are typically allowed to take some time to get going. And then he had a hot streak with 6 points in 7 games before his injury, came back with 2 pointless games, and then had a goal against Edmonton yesterday. So he's had the opportunity to go streaking here a little bit. A lot of those points are goals. I agree that I don't love him if his ice time is further reduced, which I think you're going to talk about shortly here. But I'm thinking that I'll probably hold him. He's not certainly the worst person on my roster right now. But what's your argument for moving on from Monahan?
I mean, the most obvious part of the argument is straightforward, and that's that Adam Fantilli has taken his spot on that top line. That Voronkov-Marchenko Fantilli line has been really good the last couple games. They created 11 high-danger chances in 21 minutes of ice time against Edmonton. Nice to get that big chunk of ice time, although it did go a little bit into overtime. I think that it makes more sense to keep that group together as long as they're hot. And if you are listening to the show and are the type of person who is, actively paying attention to how these line deployments look, I think you will see when that changes. And I think Monahan is enough of a edge of the roster guy that if you're quick, you can snatch him back up if the situation changes. But there are likely worse players on your roster that you would cut before, this week that he has, this prove it week that Elon has set up for him. But I would have no problem if things remain as they are. I would be happy to ditch him after the advantageous schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame anyone for moving on from him with Fantilli in the picture. Fantilli is an incredible player. There's no denying it. He's going to be the future of that roster for maybe the next 10, 15 years. That guy is such a great hockey player. And I agree with you. If Monahan, if you see him go to 16 minutes a night, 17 minutes a night, that's going to be very concerning for his long-term offensive future with the Jackets.
Yeah, absolutely. And love to hear a good Michigan boy get a lot of talking up here. All right. Obviously, with the international games, we're going to check in on some Nashville streamers, maybe poke our nose a little bit into the Penguins lineup, although that one's a little more, the contributors are more like who you would expect as opposed to what we've been seeing from Nashville lately. Okay, we've got Wood, we've got Blankenburg, we've got Bunting, we've got Steven Stamkos, I hate to say. What do you think? Are any of these guys worth holding on through the week, burning up a roster spot all the way to Friday? Take it away 1, 2, maybe even 3 games?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a decision that I had to make with one of the Pens you're going to talk about soon. But, I watched a bit of the Nashville game last night. I saw that first power play goal from Wood, and Michael Bunting was doing the dirty work as he usually does in front of the net there. And Wood, that was the beginning of his excellent night. And so I think one of the guys I would definitely keep or try to go get if I could, and maybe even I would try and get Wood a little bit early. That hat trick last night was very impressive. He just was in the right place at the right time for 2 of those goals. And then the power play goal that he scored, the second power play goal that he scored, was just a huge back-scratching slap shot. So great to see. You don't see that very often. He's one of the few young players who can actually do that. So I think Wood is one of the guys who's very interesting to me. I don't think I'm holding on to Bunting. He kind of has to luck into points every now and again. Other guys that you mentioned, Nick Blankenburg, he had 5 shots on Monday. I still probably wouldn't keep him for the long break. Sorry to Norm, if you're listening. I know that Blankenburg is related, but I probably won't keep him. And I'm going to stay steadfast here on an opinion I've held for most of this season that Steven Stamkos nor Jonathan Marchessault should be on the waiver wire. I think with how they've been performing so far, Marchessault has been a third line guy at points this season. I don't know what it is about Andrew Burnett's system or what they're doing in Nashville, but neither of those guys are contributing in your fantasy leagues right now.
Yeah, Stamkos has poked through a little bit more, but it definitely is a tough situation right now. I drafted Marchessault last year and managed to get myself out from under that weight and picked up Tom Wilson, which was pretty nice. That's long bygone age, but yeah, he hasn't been as exciting in Nashville as we hoped, and I think that is true for a lot of the people who have come over in some of these various deals. As for sort of my situation with a couple other players who might be kind of on the periphery, I am holding two game players right now that I didn't draft. So these are guys that I picked up from the waiver wire. Kindle and Burakovsky. Kindle could be the next drop. I'm kind of playing wait and see. I'm hoping that, my situation in my matchup is such that I can kind of see if I have a path to holding on to him. Obviously, the longer I wait, the more appealing he becomes because he's got that Friday, Sunday, and I'm only, benefiting so much marginally by moving on from him. So it might just be a situation where I wait myself into keeping him regardless. I like Burakovsky, was the other one. I don't know if I said, but obviously he's been having a bit of a renaissance now that he has been helping with this latest big breakout for Connor Bedard, who has fully taken over as center one. He needed a little bit of time, but Frank Nazar, I believe, is laid up with injury, and we are seeing some really great work from Connor Bedard, and I want somebody who is playing alongside of it, and that is Burakovsky right now. So those are both guys that I would hold on to. I would hold Burakovsky over Kindle, and I would want both of them more than I would want anybody on that list. Obviously, with the Chicago schedule, they're not a Friday, Sunday, so it's a little bit of a different setup. But still, I know we might hear some differing opinions. Jeremy is very enthusiastic about launching his 2-game players into the sun. So I'm interested to see what he has to say on the Thursday show and how he approached this weird week. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be a long line for some of these players. Maybe that Wood Hattie has put him, on people's radars. But overall, yeah, I'm not rushing to grab any of those guys should they hit the waiver wire because of this, odd week.
Yeah, I would recommend people keep their antennas up for Kindle and Wood for Friday and Sunday. They're great options, certainly. But before you do that, we have a bit of a treat for you here on the Tuesday edition of Short Shifts. Since I have hosted Matchup Maximizer in the past, I thought it might only be appropriate to do a little bit of a mini midweek Matchup Maximizer here. How can you get 2 games played in 3 days before the busy Saturday? There's a couple of teams here that are options to get some of those players who will give you those 2 games. For completionist reasons, I'm going to start with the teams where there aren't a ton of options. And Lewis, you can just jump in if you feel strongly about any of these players. I'm going to start with Detroit here, your beloved Red Wings. There's not a ton of options here. The young players, Marco Kasper and Nate Danielson, you can find them down on the third line, probably where many of us projected they would land long term. Both of them are on Power Play 2 with Axel Sandin Pellikka. The Mega Show on Sunday, the guys were saying that Kasper, if you're holding Kasper, you're snoozing. I know also that you were holding a candle for Emmett Finney until this afternoon. Sorry to out you like that. I'm a bit of an Emmett Finney hater myself. He's been bumped down to line 2 and Power Play 2. And of course, you've got JT Compher at 2C. He's never been a particularly good fantasy option. Any of those Red Wings interesting to you, Lewis, since we have you here as the Red Wings booster?
No, you're not going to find any homerism here. The one that I might be interested in, we'll talk about with the Bash defenseman, Edvinsson. But yeah, the rest does not do a whole lot for me. I did hold a candle for Emmett Finney. That candle said, I can't believe so many of the players on my roster are injured. But luckily, now that they are coming back, I can start to cut some of the gristle out of my roster. And unfortunately, Finney was one of those guys. It would have definitely been fun to be able to pick up a guy who was a fantasy contributor from the Wings for free. But I might have to look elsewhere if I'm going to successfully do that. So yeah, not a ton of interest there. We'll talk about Edvinsson with our Cats League defenseman. Take me to the next one. How about Utah? Utah's got to have some better options here.
Well, you're talking about gristle, and there's not a whole lot of gristle in Utah or in Vegas. Those are 2 other teams where you could get 2 games played in 3 days here. Utah on a big losing streak. Shockingly enough, their lines didn't change while they're mired in this losing streak. The top 6 guys are locked into people's fantasy rosters, and I'm not very interested in the bottom 6 there. Vegas, similar story there. Not much is changing there, even though they lost last night. Monday night, I should say, if you're listening on Wednesday. The usual suspects are owned, but a team where there's a lot of stake instead of gristle is the New York Islanders. There are 8 skaters on that team with 10 points on the season. Let's see if I can name them from memory here. You've got Horvat, you've got Lee, you've got Pajot, you've got Drouin, you've got Palmieri, you've got Matthew Schaefer, of course. I think I'm missing 1 or 2, but I wouldn't mind having any of those guys for 2 games. I know for a fact that they're all owned already in my division. So if you want a piece, the best option might be Simon Holmstrom, who is playing on one of those lines, one of those top 6 lines. Lots of great options in New York, though.
Yeah, Ryan, you left out the great Emil Heineman. Who I had the misfortune of being lined up against. I think it was last week. I don't remember. Some of these tough weeks have blended together. But yeah, he's been a fun option from real deep on the percent owned wagon. So he might be a guy to look at. Yeah, I think a lot of those guys are very interesting. Those are guys that are mostly gobbled up in Cupful, but out there in the wild world of Yahoo, there are plenty of leagues that have those guys available. I would toss Ivan Barbashev in there as well. I know that, we talked about Vegas, not a ton changing. The usual suspects are owned, but Barbashev is low-ish in terms of ownership, especially with what he's been doing lately while he's been up on that top line. So he's only 45% rostered, and that was with a 16% boost from yesterday. He's on a nice 4-game point streak with 6 total points during the course of that. So 45% rostered is not enough. So yes, we sometimes get too focused on Cupful here, but out in Yahoo, there's a lot of Ivan Barbashev available, and people should be jumping on that. He is playing with an outstanding top line, and he is getting in on the action. He'll give you some hits there as well. All right, that's all I have to say about those guys. Take us to Buffalo. There's some interesting options in there.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a great point on Barbashev. I've owned him for many weeks now, but he's probably available out there. But I'll tell you someone who is definitely available out there, definitely available in Cupful too, and that is the 1C for the Buffalo Sabres, Ryan McLeod, who after Yuri Kulich was announced out with a blood clotting issue for a couple months, bless up to him. I hope he returns healthy. He's a young guy with a lot of potential, but Ryan McLeod's going to take his spot now. This is one of those, lineup positioning plays. It's not like Ryan McLeod is anything to write home about offensively, but he did have some pockets of success last season. I think if I was going to Buffalo, though, I would be looking at that power play 1 defenseman spot. And I think the debate that's been raging in our short shifts chat is whether it's Bo Byram or Owen Power. The Yahoo ownership favors Power, and the Cupful percent owned as well favors Power. I kind of originally thought it would be Byram. Now it does seem like Byram's on the trade block for the Sabres. I guess he maybe never left, but I'm thinking that it's possible that Buffalo will prioritize Power and his long-term future with the team. There's not a whole lot of other options there, as Buffalo seems to have 3 fourth lines and 1 first line. But some of the better options of the younger players who you may not have heard of are Isaac Rosén and Noah Ostlund. Both have some offensive upside and will be playing on, I guess, the second line or maybe the third line, depending on how the beat writers order them. They're both going to get more opportunity with Buffalo's injuries at the top 6.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. We had the same person jump on both Power and Byram in my division in the Cupful, so was hedging the bet there pretty strongly. I have streamed McLeod in and out. Like you said, he has had some high points. I had him for his 2-goal game, but he has been also in there for some pretty boring ones. It's a good spot with Tage and Tuck, so I think I would be, if you want someone with good exposure who's getting like 19 minutes a night, I mean, that's a very nice spot to have. That's a lot of minutes to do something in. I don't mind McLeod there. Definitely an interesting one. When we made our lists, I had McLeod up there pretty high, but I had somebody else even higher. I think this is the guy that people should be rushing to. This is your pause the pod if that wasn't made clear on the Sunday show.
Yeah, Jack Roslovic is filling in, stepping in Edmonton here. He's the must own, I think, right now. 92% owned in Cupful, but only 23% in the rest of the Yahoo leagues. So if you're in a deep league, he's probably out there for you. I will just say, be careful. Zach Hyman is projected to come back at some point this week. I imagine that that's going to eat into Roslovic's time. Those of you who've been following Roslovic's contract situation know that there is a bit of an out, not that his contract can be canceled, but that he can be moved on to another team by December, I believe. Look into it at Puckpedia if you're interested. This is kind of a short-term thing. I think they kind of intended that he would be around until Hyman's return, and then they would see what happens. But Roslovic certainly right now is the must-own. I'm not as interested. I don't know about you, Lewis, but I'm not interested in Matt Savoy on McDavid's wing or Andrew Mangiapane. I would probably put him even lower than some of those younger Buffalo guys like Rosén and Ostlund. What do you think? I should also say Podkolzin is there too. I can't forget about Podkolzin. He'll kick you a point every now and again. So I guess Roslovic and Podkolzin more than anything else.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'll add Podkolzin to my watch list. Maybe if my other guys end up disappearing, but he was not in the top 5 of my list, or I guess he would be. Yeah, I would have. I agree with you about Rosane, which you have taught me how to say, which I very much appreciate. I'd like to have him because he seems to be getting some nice deployment. So I would have him above Podkolzin, and obviously Roslovic is the top of my list.
Yeah, and here's the last team where you can get 2 games in 3 days. The Philadelphia Flyers, who seem to finally be giving the people what they want by playing all the offensive players with each other. What a shock. Sean Couturier, the captain, is between Matvei Michkov and Trevor Zegras. That's interesting to me. He will be the defensive conscience of that line, and he can still dish and get involved, and he's playing with the 2 most creative players on the team. You'll also remember he has big game potential. We remember his recent October 13th game. That was 4 points for him in one night. And he had a 5-point game at the beginning of last season. So it's not like he's a complete loser offensively. He always does everything right on the right side of the puck. Someone that you guys were talking about, you and Liz, last week was Owen Tippett. He might have been dropped because he's been cold, but he's still shooting, playing with Dvorak and Travis Konechny. You can do a lot worse than Owen Tippett. So any of these guys, Couturier or Tippett, interesting to you, Lewis?
All right. Well, I think we're going to drop a rank here in a second. I think Liz and I were tepid holds on Tippett. I think I was actually talking her out of it, but I sort of talked myself into maybe hanging on to him. The good schedule definitely could be a reason to hold on to him or add him. I'm also kind of into Noah Cates over in Philly. Not the most exciting, but seems pretty reliable. He's getting nice deployment under the new regime. He's taking an extra half shot per game. He's got an extra minute of power play time and an extra minute of, or 2 total extra minutes per game. If you're playing in a league that counts or values shorthanded points, especially in Cats leagues where sometimes a single shorthanded point can win you the week, he also kills penalties. You're not finding a lot of guys who are on power play 1 and penalty killers. So that could be a good option. Of course, he's offering very little bash otherwise in those Cats leagues. But yeah, I might look at Cates as an interesting option as well. All right, so let's rank some of these guys. Ryan, how do you feel about who? I think we agree about the top. Let's just get that out of the way. No suspense here. We both have Roslovic at the top. He's been playing really well. What does the rest of your list look like?
Yeah, I think Roslovic's the clear number 1 here, and then I think I'm going to go Owen Power number 2. I just think that he has the the trust of the coaching staff. I think that he is the GM's guy. He was drafted by this GM, so I think we'll go Owen Power next, and then I think I'm going to go Couturier for my third guy, and then I think I'll say McLeod as an honorable mention.
All right. Well, obviously Roslovic at the top of my list. I think I will take Tippett or Cates in that next spot. I'm ad-libbing here a little bit because I know that's not what I wrote down on my list, but that's what I'm thinking is the Philly guys. Then I'll take McLeod. Then I'll take the Buffalo D. I still feel like it's kind of up in the air about which guy is going to get the more prime deployment, and it would be a shame to add Power and have it turn out to be Byram. Again, I understand your reasons certainly for why you're thinking about it there, but yeah, that could be. It's just a little too much. I already am a D hater for the season. I've cast my lot in with the other D haters, so I've got the Buffalo D at the bottom. Well, not the bottom, but the bottom of people that I'm willing to mention in this segment.
And no matter who you pick, whether it's Roslovic or Power or whoever it is right now, be ready to swap out for a Ben Kindle or a Matthew Wood on Friday, because then you'll find a way to get 4 games in 5 days, and that's the best way to secure your matchup if you're down on games played.
Definitely. Mantha could also be an interesting Friday ad. He's cooled down a bit while Malkin's even strength scoring has fallen off, but still has value as a potential Friday-Sunday stream. I don't love his ice time, which is in kind of the low to mid teens. But sometimes these international games can be high scoring affairs. One of the games could even be against Anunen. Although if I were trying to win those games as Nashville, I would play Saros, even though he's not been helping himself very much lately either. But yeah, I mean, that's a team that you can score on. And I think you could do worse than Anthony Mantha as a potential ad also.
And we're going to finish off here, Lewis, with a bit of a lightning round of Bash D that you might have available to you We're sorting these in a list here by percentage owned, with the highest percent, being at the top here. And I'm going to start with Jake McCabe, who I've owned for the past week. And you might be saying, Ryan, what are you talking about? Jake McCabe has 7 points in his last 9 games and a plethora of periffs. But I have it on good authority, Lewis, that he languished on the waiver wire in Tier 2 Pittsburgh until this very morning. And there's lots of smart managers in that division. So check your wires. Jake McCabe might be available to you. He's had a ton of points, and he's always good for some shots, some blocks, and some hits.
Yeah, I think the guys that we're talking about here, we're looking at those points as a potential upside, but we're hoping that they're going to get you kind of that basic, baseline level of grinding it out, like a Sean Walker that we were talking about previously. Simone Edvinsson could be a good option for you, 50%. 57% owned in the Cupful, but much more widely available out there in Yahoo. He's clearing 20 minutes a game on the regular. He's getting over a shot per game, over a hit per game, 2.5 blocks per game. That is nice, especially if you are just counting those up in your categories, or if you are in a points league that values those, a little more highly than the Cupful does. He could be a nice bash option for you. Let's head over and Ryan, tell us about Romanov.
Yeah, Alex Romanov, 24% owned in Cupful. He's hitting his stride after returning from injury and has a number of recent games with multiple shots, hits, and blocks. Travis Sanheim, also frequently over 25 minutes per game, has the occasional cardio session like in his last game against Ottawa, but 2 blocks per game and around a shot and a hit per game should give you something this week. There's another option over in Buffalo, Lewis.
Yeah, Samuelson playing more with Dahlin out. Of course, the Sunday show covered the news that Dahlin is taking some time away from the team. And of course, we are wishing the family all the best. But in Dahlin's absence, Samuelson's going to be getting more ice time, already playing 20 minutes a game. Not a huge shooter, but maybe 1.5 shots a game, or hit and a half, 2.5 blocks. Yeah, if Simone Edvinsson is not around for you, Samuelson could be a good option for you. I meant to bring this up back when we were talking about the Buffalo D as streaming options, but just remember that, the offense in general in Buffalo kind of really took a hit when he was injured last year. So I do have some concerns that maybe Buffalo in general is going to suffer in Dahlin's absence. I mean, obviously it makes sense. He's a very talented player, but maybe more so than we've seen in some other cases. All right, and one more guy. Let's get a little bit about Braden Schneider. He'll give you 3 games. What do you think? What do you think of this guy?
Yeah, I mean, if Samuelson is the diet version of Edvinsson, then Schneider might as well be the Zevia version of Samuelson, because he doesn't have the time on ice. He's 16, 17 minute a night kind of guy, but he turns in 2 hits per game and a shot and a block per game. He's at least pretty steady. So. If none of the guys mentioned so far are available, go for Braden Schneider, and don't worry about cutting this guy later in the week.
Yeah, absolutely. Just somebody who can fill in. Sometimes when you pull in a streamer, you're not looking for someone to hit a home run for you. You want them to give you a steady, a few fantasy points, for those peripherals. And a point could be upside. So that can be a really effective strategy. And that's why you like to talk about the bash guys. Plus, we want to give some love to our categories league players. And hopefully some of them joined us. And thank you, everybody who joined us. I hope you enjoyed the show. Really great to have Ryan back in the fold. Of course, it's been a blast doing shows with Elizabeth. You've heard from Derek also on Tuesdays. So it's just been your cup runneth over with fantasy hosts. If you like the show, please consider joining the Keeping Karlsson Patreon group, keepingkarlsson.com/patron. Super supporters receive ad-free episodes, and you can interact with Brian, Elon, the Short Shifts crew, and hundreds of other talented fantasy managers in our super active Discord server. Please check out GameDayTweets.com back in action to get all of the best information from X. Including team by team and searchable tweets by player name. I just learned today that Shams and Elon have a tool that converts those obnoxious updates where it just has the players' numbers into player names. So awesome. I was like, why? The beat writers should be retweeting their stupid numbers list. You're doing their job for them.
Incredible.
So anyway, just another reason that they are awesome. Please visit that site and the other great sites we research our episodes with at Yahoo, Frozen Tools, and Natural Stat Trick. Our intro and outro music was created by Pat Roach. And until we see you next time, play smart and keep your shifts short.
If you're a custodial supervisor at a local high school, you know that cleanliness is key, and that the best place to get cleaning supplies is from Grainger. Grainger helps you stay fully stocked on the products you trust, from paper towels and disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Plus, you can rely on Grainger for easy reordering, so you never run out of what you need. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.